welcome back. Welcome. No, it's not welcome back. It's welcome first time. Yes. That's okay. I run another channel. I'll be sort of trying to run 2 channels at the moment. This is my car restoration channel. Yay! I'm sure we'll be all excited about that one. So, I'm going to be doing a car restoration series. I thought, why not? I mean, it's YouTube. I can do whatever I like on YouTube. Everyone else does, At least I'm not making fake, movie trailers. So I thought, car restoration. I'm working on a car at the moment, doing a restoration. I thought, well, why not put it on YouTube and, show people what it's like for a DIYer to restore a car. Because when you watch TV, you always see these pros, these professional guys that, restore cars on a daily basis, and it gives you the impression that, you can take a piece of junk, rusted heap and restore it in a week. And of course that's not true. For DIYs it's a lot different. I mean, we have other jobs, you have to work for a living, and make money. So restoring a car can take months, if not years in some cases. So I've obviously got my project car, but I thought, first video, probably let's go through the do's and don'ts and what the whole concept of a restoration is. So of course the concept of restoration, for those who aren't aware and watching this for the first time, aren't at the moment banging their heads on their keyboards, is of course to take a car that is old and bring it back to looking new. And simple as that. Take an old banger and make it look new again. Bring it back to how it might have looked as a factory fit, as it first rolled off the factory line. Sometimes you can do modifications, people tend to tune things up nowadays when they do a restoration. That's cool, restoration is what you want it to be, You, the person, when you do a restoration, you have a concept of what you want your car to look like at the end of the day. So the first thing when you start doing a car restoration, and this is probably one of the most important parts, is to pick a car that you love, not a car that you like. Pick a car that you've always had a heart on for. You've always loved it since the first day you saw it. And the reason for that is, of course, if you don't, it's going to end up on Craigslist or eBay or Gumtree or in the local paper as an unfinished restoration. And they're littered. This is, if you're buying a restoration car to start, a project car to start with, these are the sites to go to because you'll get a car cheap, because people who start restoring a car realise that they're just money pits, got in way over their head, and they've bailed on the project. And that's why you're going to pick a car that you love. Because if you pick a car that you like, or a car that you think you like, and you find out down the track that it's just sucking you dry, you're going to find it very easy to just bail on it and take a powder. And that's probably the very first thing you should look at. And the second thing you've got to look at is why you're restoring it. Are you restoring the car because you want the car to drive, or are you restoring the car for a profit? If you're restoring the car for a profit, forget it. Leave it for the professionals. Just because you watch a TV show and you see these guys buying a banger for $500, spending a couple of grand on it and flipping it for a huge profit, doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Professionals know what they're doing. They know where to get the parts cheap. They know how to do it all on the for the least amount of price to maximise the profitability of the project. And they know the cars they're going for and what they want to do with the cars. So you don't restore for profit, you restore for, of course, love, because you're always going to end up spending more than what the car's worth. It's inevitable. You can't avoid it. Restorations always have twists and turns that are going to see you spending heaps and heaps of money. So first things first, work out what car, if you want to do a restoration, work out what car that you love so that you get the right car for you. So if you love an AMC Gremlin, God knows why, but if you love an AMC Gremlin, then buy an AMC Gremlin and restore it, because you're going to drive it, you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to love it. Don't buy a Mustang simply because Mustangs are cool, because, Mustangs are cool, but everyone restores them, so there's lots out there. So, of course, at the end of the day, your Mustang's one of a million other Mustangs out there. If you love a Mustang, buy it and restore it. Hey, why not? The parts are always available. And that leads on to the next part. Before you even start looking at buying a project car, look for parts. What parts are available for your project? Because what you got to appreciate is when you start a restoration, it's going to be a ground up rebuild. You're going to tear everything off this thing back to a shell and start from scratch. Even if someone's already done 70% of the work before you, you're going to want to tear it down and make sure that that 70% was actually 70%, not, you know, their concept of 70%. So you want to know, can you get brake calipers? Can you get brake, you know, drums? Can you get wheels and, you know, rims? Can you get, you know, gearboxes and motors and, you know, diffs? You know, are you going to be able to get panels? Are you going to be able to get doors? You know, can you get hold of interiors? You know, can you get a dash? You know, all these things need to be known before you get started, because if you buy a car that you can't get parts for, and a classic one that I do know of out there is, of course, the Subaru, in Australia it's called the Himalaya, I believe, Subaru Himalaya. It was a bit like the Volkswagen Golf. It was a little two-door coupe, front-wheel drive. Can't get parts for them. I know, you know, another one's the Nivas, the old Russian-built Nivas. You just can't get parts for them. So, yeah, unless you can, you know, you're going to buy 5 or 6 cars and butcher them all into one car, it's going to be a very, very long and very, very tedious project. So once you've picked your car out, you've worked out what you're going to pay for it, also worked out what parts you can get for it, of course, then you're going to start setting your budget. How much are you willing to pay to restore it? And the reason why you do that is because you want to work out, is it going to be cheaper to restore than to buy a restored? And this is very important because, you know, if you're going to spend argumentatively 20 grand restoring a car, but you can buy a very nice restored one for 18 grand, buy a restored one. Simple as that. It's a no-brainer. Save yourself the 2 grand and, you know, all the pain, suffering and humiliation, and buy a restored one. But if you can't, you know, if you know you can do it cheaper, then you do it cheaper. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I know that the original price of the car plus the depreciation of the time I spent driving it before I actually decided to do a restoration on it, I've got plenty of money to, you know, plenty of distance on the finances to spend on it. And so that leads us on to, of course, what happens next. So you've worked out that, you know, the car's within your budget. You've worked out what parts are available for your car. Now you pick your car, and don't be, you know, be fussy. You know, don't race out and buy the very first car that you find. Be fussy. Pick a car that's going to have the least amount of overall work done to it. You know, don't pick the car just because it's cheap. You know, cheap often, you know, cheap can be good. Cheap can also be bad. Now, and it depends on the owner of the car. Some people will throw a car out for a few $100s because it's got a blown motor in it. Blown motor's fine. Throw the motor away, put a new motor in it. If it's got a good chassis, good body, doors. And the thing, when I say good body, I'm talking about, you know, the actual panels on the back, the panel, you know, the panels down the side, you know, the roof. Bonnets, boots and doors are replaceable. You know, if you've got a door that's got a big whooping dent in it, chances are you'll find another door somewhere where you can swap it out. And you're going to give it a repaint anyway. So, you know, if you've got to swap a couple of doors out, if you've got to put in a different bonnet on it, if you've got to replace the boot, you know, que sera, sera. You know, interior, you know, again, 9 times out of 10 you're going to throw the interior out and replace the interior. You know, even the dash, if you can get a dash, and you know, a new or a really good dash fairly inexpensively, yeah, don't be too worried about the dash. What you don't want to buy is a car that's got lots and lots of rust in the chassis rails. You know, lots and lots of rust around the firewall in the front engine bay. You know, stuff like that. You know, lots of rust in the floor. You know, certain little bits of rust are alright, because a lot of cars you can buy replacement panels that you can actually just skin over it, weld them in, and it hides all the blemishes. But if it's got, you know, a rust hole that you can stick your ass through and drag down the road behind you, you probably want to start looking around to see if there's anything else out there on the market. And if it takes you 12 months, it takes you 12 months. You know, if you spend the first 12 months, if you can't find the right car, buy some parts. You know, parts that you'll always need on car restoration are brake cylinders, you know, brake shoes, you know, steering boxes, you know, all those sort of things, you know, master cylinder for your brake system. You know, those are the sort of things you could buy beforehand. So you've got all your bits, you get your car, the next thing you buy is some literature. So I'm doing a Meyers Max. So for those who aren't familiar with the Meyers Max, A guy named Bruce Meyers, he was an artist back in the 60s. He built a beach buggy, for lack of a better terminology. He was a Californian guy. He built a beach buggy so he could throw a surfboard on the roof, on the top of it, take it down the beach and do a bit of the surfing. And the car itself is based on a cut down Volkswagen floor pan. It's a fiberglass body. It's a no frills car, but I tell you what, if you've ever driven one, these things are the balls. They are just brilliant to drive. So what you want to do is you want to get some literature. Now, if you're restoring a Chevy or a Ford or a Volkswagen or, you know, Mercedes-Benz, you'd probably buy something like the Haynes or the Gregory's or even both, you know, books on that particular model car, because they usually have a good breakdown of the motors, the firing orders, the timing, the, you know, all the drivetrain, you know, all the bits that you need to know as a DIY guy before you get smashing into the project. So once you've got all that, it's time to get into the project. It's time to do the teardown. I actually have already shot the first part of the teardown video. I do apologise, some parts of it are missing because I sort of started the video a bit late into the project. One thing I will say, and it's something that I haven't put at the start of the video, and I might put it in the start as just a little edit into it, sandblasting as part of a teardown project. I wasn't familiar with the fact that there is now a garnet on the market that's actually soft enough for fiberglass. I sort of knew about walnut, and I knew about there was like a PVC ball, you know, sort of like little pellet sort of garnet, and I knew obviously about sand garnets. And I was always a bit afraid of using those because I thought it might, you know, chew through the fiberglass and score the hell out of it. I have now since found out there is actually a shredded PVC garnet on the market. It's made out of out of shredded plastic bottles. It is soft enough to use on fiberglass, and it will probably, in the case of myself, have saved me about 3 months' work, because fiberglassing down, you know, sanding down a fiberglass body as opposed to a steel body is a pain in the ass. So these aren't going to be regular videos, I should say that straight up. Don't expect to see a video every week. I do work, we all do. They'll go up as I've got something new to show you. I'll hopefully take you through the entire process of the project, give you some helpful hints and tips on restorations as you go. Obviously, if you have got a Meyers Max or a variant version of a fiberglass Volkswagen of the 1960s, you might get some helpful hints and tips. So stick with us, subscribe, like, rate, all that sort of cool stuff, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching, and stick with us. Bye.